Thanks, everyone. In a regular Goldendale City Council for June 21st, 2022. Where does time go? Sandy, could you give the roll call? We have, I know, Lauren's gone.
Lauren's gone and Gilberto. So Mylan,
Here.
Andy,
Here.
Ellie, here, Dave,
Yes.
Steve.
Here.
So just Phil and Lauren.
Okay,
No, just kidding.
I had a call from Lauren explaining he was going to miss it. And I think Gilberto probably told me last time, so we need a motion to excuse him from attendance at this.
So I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to excuse Lauren Baker and Gilberto Ontiveros from attendance at this Goldendale City Council meeting for June 21st. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. We'll go to the agenda now, and we need a motion for the agenda and the consent agenda.
I should move, Mayor. I'll second. Go ahead.
We have, I forgot the first word.
Motion.
Motion. We have a motion and a second to accept the agenda and the consent agenda as presented. All in favor?
Do we have discussion?
Discussion. That's what I
Okay, go ahead, discussion.
No, I just got a couple of questions.
Okay.
A question on 3 or 4 of the items on the registry. First one is for the city of Goldendale, it's a water bill. I think it's about the same thing.
Who's the,
City of Goldendale.
Yeah, it is the same page.
okay, go ahead, just what the water bill is, I'll have Sandy explain that.
Yeah.
So that's all of our departments. So that's wastewater treatment plant. I think they have 2 meters out there, the public works shop, city hall, the police department, all the parks, and the Bird Marquee Park, which is where the chamber is. So that's all of the water bills that the city pays for. And bulk water would be listed separate if we had that one, which this time we didn't.
I just thought that was kind of curious that we're paid for water
We-
for our own facilities.
We do, every facility plus bulk water.
Okay.
So we have a bulk water shed at the
That's
shop.
good.
And any time that the crew needs bulk water, we bill the city for it.
Okay, that's good. And then the other one was the Menke Jackson, $5,600 for code enforcement.
There is a lot of efforts gone into enforce the code enforcement actions against the house at 425 West Darwin.
Oh.
And there was a lot of things going on with that, the least of which was we couldn't find the owner because
Right.
2 owners were passed away, and we had to get authorization to serve by notice of publication, and then then there was a squatter in there, and then there was all kinds of stuff.
It got complicated, yeah, I understand. I just, we've got a code enforcement officer. Apparently,
You can't do the legal stuff.
he can't do the legal stuff. Well, and I understand too, that his hands are somewhat tied because of the way our codes, or our ordinances are the way they are now. And,
That's going to need to be tackled.
there's been some discussion as far as getting into those and doing some rewriting and trying to give our own officer a little more,
Exactly.
a little more teeth. Okay. And then the other one was employment security. Next page.
That's a new program by the state. It's called Family Medical Leave. And that was our payment.
So, that addresses employees, so
Yes.
employees. So this is on top of what we negotiate, when we
Yes,
negotiate,
because the state, this has to go directly to the state.
And then how does that affect the employees?
They started a new disability program through the state. And so we take money out of checks from the employees and then we transfer it to the state.
So this comes out of the employees' wages.
Right.
So it's not coming out of the general fund?
Well, it is.
Kinda, sorta?
Kind of, sort of.
Kind of, sort of.
We collect it and we have to pay it.
I've always had a problem with that kind of sort of stuff with the general fund, you know that. You know that. It is either in the general fund, goes in, comes out, you know, but I do realize there are some instances where it's just a transfer. We'll see what that looks like when we do our budget meetings for the next year. And then the other one is, again, HSA bank employee plan funding for
This is part of the
$11,000.
union contract.
That was part of the union contract. Okay. So negotiated, that was negotiated.
Yes, it was.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Does anybody else have questions or things that you want to know about either the agenda or the consent agenda? Take me a while to be trained on that.
Well, I can't vote
That's good.
unless there's any more discussion.
Anyone, is there any further discussion? Okay, we have a motion and a second to accept the agenda and the consent agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The next item, we don't have presentations tonight, but we do have department reports, and we'll begin with the Goldendale Police Department. Chief, would you like to?
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, first of all, start off, received the civil service list. I've got 4 entry-level candidates on the list, so I'm starting the screening process to hire 2 police officers to fill the 2 vacant slots that have recently come open. So hopefully we can get through that relatively quick, or as quick as possible. Also, I just wanted to go over for call to service as of today at 3 o'clock. When I looked at the reporting system, the Goldendale Police Department is at 1,472 calls for service to this day. To just kind of give it a breakdown, we are seeing an increase in calls. Day shift has been getting extremely busy. We're going into the summer. But just to give you an idea of what we're looking at per month, this will start in January of this year. We had 205 calls, February 236, March 267, April 252, and May 262. June, as of today, 3 o'clock, we were at 250, but we got 9 days left still in the month. So day shift is averaging 9 to 14 calls versus swing shift is averaging 6 to 10, sometimes less. Day shift has been getting pretty hammered. And it's not one of things, it's just a gambit bag full of all different types of calls. Everything from assaults to disorderlies to civil to traffic. It's just all, but it's extremely busy. Take one day, in fact, on the Sergeant Lucatero on one day, and he was single coverage Friday, Saturday on this period. He took 14 calls on Friday and 8 the next day in shift. He was pretty busy. So, looking at the numbers, KCSO is at 2,434, White Salmon Bingen PD 575. So we're right in the middle, but summer's here, it's going, and we're getting the calls. So just giving you an idea of what we're looking at per day or per month as far as calls for service. So, and that's about all I have at this time.
Thanks, Chief. Thank you.
Could I? Yeah. Could you break those down, those calls down a little bit, like domestic, traffic stops? You know, just, there's got to be 2 or 3, at least 2 or 3, I know they're probably spread out pretty good, but at least 2 or 3 categories. You know, it'd just be interesting to know.
Okay, I'll have those broken down and present those in the next council meeting with an up-to-date number and basically what we're looking at. But again, we are getting a whole lot of just different calls, and not one staff. So, but I will get some numbers on some of the higher priorities type stuff that we're getting stuff. But you know, disorderlies is one, some thefts, the domestics, we're getting those, a lot of suspicious calls. Some of them are very minor and people are calling in, you know, they're suspicious, we got 2 people sleeping in a car that's parked in the alleyway. Okay, you know, stuff like that.
All right.
So, but
No,
no,
it's a call though, and you never know.
absolutely, suspicious calls can turn into something major.
The domestic ones are some of the worst, can be, go
Yes,
south on
because
you.
the fight's already going.
Not as much as any of them,
Yeah.
for sure. But no, I appreciate it.
Sure, sure, I will break those down and present at the next council meeting.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. We'll hear now from our Goldendale Fire Department Chief, Noah.
So wildland season, believe it or not, is here. It's obviously getting, has gotten warmer within a day or so. I know it's rained quite a bit, but the 1 hour fuels is what we call it, the grasses and stuff like that. It's gonna dry out quick. So everybody just, you know, be careful what you're doing with that kind of stuff. The burn ban is in effect in the city limits of Goldendale, and I think we're zone 2 would be rural 7 basically is in burn ban 2 as well. So 4th of July is coming up, so kind of dry grass coincides with 4th of July. Remind everybody that on the 4th of July is the only time you can light the fireworks off in the city limits, and it's 6 p.m. to 12 a.m. So yes, remember that. We will have some fire trucks out and about on the 4th of July as well. Obviously, the police department will be out as well.
That's a great reminder.
And then I just wanted to mention that you can buy fireworks that starting the 28th of June through the 5th. And I know there's some certain times they can be sold, but honestly I don't know without looking at the state statute. So just wanted to throw that out there too.
Good. Thank you, Noah. Thank you.
I'd like to make a comment, Mayor. I think the people are doing a good job of cutting their grass down, but there's still a lot out there, and there's going to be really a potential for fire danger, especially with that wild rye that's growing. It's just, yeah,
Yes.
and it's going to go, yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, there's a lot of grass that is still actually pretty green. That's taller. Some of this
Yeah.
taller stuff is really green.
Right.
But with this weather, like what we had today, it'll take a couple of days and it'll be
Yeah.
good to
Well,
go.
Exactly.
So,
Mhm. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Anybody else with questions for Noah? If not, we'll hear from Public Works.
So currently, staffing levels are low in the department due to vacant positions and employees out on personal, family leave issues. Leaving the department shorthanded in the maintenance side. Currently, we're down to 3 men working this week and on the maintenance side of the public works. So that's gonna put us behind schedule more on getting potholes fixed and some other issues. On top of that, Dino Mark's wastewater service line has separated from the main sewer line, which indicates a lot of potentials of why that occurred. So staff is going to be investigating why that occurred, and will report back to City Council our findings in the future. If it was just a bad connection to begin with, or something shifted or moved and caused the issue, we'll be reporting that back. So the low bid contractor that was awarded the airport and WADSAC contract is unable to perform the work. The airport contract allows the contractor to reassign the contract with authorization of the city council. Staff are currently working with legal counsel on both sides, and we'll be presenting something at the next council meeting for you guys to consider on how you would like to proceed. Whether it would be reassigning that contract, allowing the contractor to reassign that contract, or going back out to bid would be the other option. With the Wadsack one, I don't think we're gonna have a choice to go out to bid because the contract was never entered into. He was just awarded the bid, but no contract was ever officially signed. Buyer Street project on the west end of the project, the natural gas line is within the subgrade and that parallels the road. On the north side, that line is going to have to be lowered. So the gas company, we met with them out there yesterday. They will be on site Monday, probably by noon, and start, and hoping we'll have that work done by Friday to get that portion of that line lowered so they continue with subgrading. Other problems what we're having is up on that into some of the water service lines that come across the road are shallow. So we're gonna be looking at those one by one to determine what we can do. Today, because of vibration, one of the lines did break, which the public works crew were up there for several hours having to fix that line. But it is taken care of at this point. And in addition to that, I've been working with the phone company to remove the telephone poles on the south side of Byers. Doesn't make sense to me that we have telephone poles on both sides. They will be removing those poles, whether they decide to go underground or to move the line to the north side and lease space off of PUD. I haven't got a final answer from them of what their plan is, but other than we'll get the poles out of our way.
Anything else?
No, that's pretty much
Thank you,
it. So.
thank you, Pat. Any questions or comments for Pat?
What side of the street is the water main line on?
Currently,
Yeah,
on the south side.
it's on the south side.
Yeah. And there's some questions because it's an AC pipe. There's some areas where you can identify pretty accurately where that's at, and other areas we are not sure exactly where it's at, so. There was no tracer wire, which was not put in during those time periods, so.
It's been in there a while.
Yeah, so,
Okay, well, thank you.
you bet.
Any other comments or questions? If not, we'll go on to council business. The first item is the outside city limits water service connection, and Pat Munyon will present that. Pat?
Yeah, at this point, staff is requesting to table this topic and move it back to Public Works Committee for further discussion.
Any questions or comments, council?
How soon should the Public Works Committee meet on this?
Well, in discussions with Lauren, he would like to discuss this more with the committee before proceeding, and we just need to, I'm kind of waiting, because he's still not real healthy at this point, waiting to hear from him until he's healthy, and then we'll schedule a meeting fairly quickly. So I'm hoping by next week we can be back in committee and have a discussion, just maybe basically on this topic to iron out how the city council wants to proceed with outside services, and then we need to talk about the city's water comprehensive plan service area map. So that whatever we do is in conjunction with what we're doing with our comprehensive plan service area.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Well, along those lines, I was going to suggest scheduling regular Public Works Committee meetings, 1 a month. Let's set a date, just like our council meetings, set a date. Leave it up to the discretion of the staff, up to the City Hall here, as far as, do we really need one this coming month, or at this time, whatever. But there's so much going on. I really think it would justify, in the short term at least, maybe the long term, with what we're staring at here, to schedule one every month, 1 a month at least.
Sure.
We might even throw in an extra one sometimes.
Let me work with Larry, because I know we
Yeah.
have other committee meetings too, and
Exactly.
so where we can squeeze those in, so we're not overlapping meetings.
Certainly, certainly.
Any other comments or questions? If not, we'll go on to,
You want to just concur in that recommendation?
yeah, this is just we're just referring it to another committee, we're not deciding it. We have agreement.
I agree on that.
Sure.
Okay, so I think it requires a motion. I've got it in my notes. The next item on the agenda is under ordinances, and this is an air ambulance service as a benefit. This is a second reading, and Larry Bellamy will present this item.
It is just that. It is ready for its second reading.
Right.
This will allow for, we've already put out the applications and got the information back from all the employees that are eligible at this time to take advantage of that benefit. And it will be in place by July 1 for all the employees.
Any comments or questions to Larry on it?
Well, Mayor, I move to approve the ordinance which provides air ambulance service as a benefit to city employees, volunteers, council members, and the mayor for a second reading.
Second?
Do we have discussion or
I
comment?
just have a comment.
Sure.
What ordinance number is it?
Oh, yeah, we did.
I knew you were going to ask me that. I don't know.
I think it was on the last one.
I think it was.
Is it in there?
No, it's not there tonight.
It was
I'm not
on the
finding
last
it in the last one either.
We'll research it, put the right ordinance number on this before it gets filed in the ordinance book.
Okay.
Okay.
Any other comments or questions? If not, we've had a motion and a second to approve the ordinance which provides air ambulance service as a benefit to city employees, volunteers, council members, and the mayor for its second reading. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Votes unanimous. The next item is the report of officers and city administrator, and we'll begin with Larry Bellamy for the next to last update.
The REDS group, I guess the Regional Economic Development Strategy Group, for a project progress report. And it was held up at the observatory. I thought the meeting went very well. We had a presentation from he's with the Department of Commerce, I believe.
I believe, yeah, right. I forget
And
the
had,
name.
and had a very good discussion after that meeting over lunch. And it spoke to me, it spoke to the collaborative work that was being carried on by all the different entities. There's people, representatives from Clickaday County, Park and Rec, Washington State Park and Rec, City Council, Clickaday County Commissioner, and a lot of other, they had staff there as well. And I thought that the group had worked very well together. We actually had some successes. We will continue to work together as we move forward. So that pretty much kind of wraps up the formal progress of that group. And Ken was helping us out for quite a few months. I think for the last 9 months, they've been kind of helping us out, managing the process for us and getting us to this point. But that contract now is now over, so it's going to be up to the leadership group to keep it rolling, and I think we will. So we had discussion regarding parks and rec and water supply projects and wastewater treatment plant projects, as well as a tourism loop project that we're going to take a look at and see if we can get some funding for that. So anyway, we thought it went very well. The other point I wanted to make for you tonight is that Goldendale is collecting information for a rate study to be performed by FCS. This was part of the wastewater treatment plant contract with RH2, and we are working on collecting that data for them, so more to come on that as they begin to evaluate that data. The other thing that we're doing with FCS, the guy's name is Todd Chase, and he had made a presentation regarding tax increment financing. We've done some more research, and we have some more updates on how that plan works, as well as what the council had directed was for us to come up with a feasibility price for a feasibility study on the development of the tax increment financing district. So we'll hopefully have you a more update on that at the next council meeting. Then kind of getting back to water supply, we had a discussion with the Office of Columbia River, which is a group that deals with ASR projects. ASR is Aquifer Storage Recovery. And we had Aspect Consulting, who's worked with the city for a number of years for storage issues. We had a great call with them, and it worked. We got a lot of good information. They have a grant program that they're trying to develop and get ready for the 2023 budget cycle at the state. And so they're looking for projects that they can grant money to. And we are one of those that they'd like to look at, but they need more information and some more application information to spread those grant dollars out on an ASR project. Basically, AFR is taking water that is over-collected and injecting it into a well, which acts like a reservoir, then bring it back out and need for that water. So that's what they're going to do through feasibility study on. But again, it's a grant program. And then another thing we talked about at the last council meeting was working on an airport planning project to address land use issues at the city's municipal airport. So we're working on getting a proposal together for you on that. And then lastly, the Goldendale Energy Storage Project. They're presenting a environmental impact statement, and that environmental impact statement is open for comments from June 23rd through actually starting in June, and I think it ends in July. But if you're interested in making comments, let us know and we'll find out more particular what those dates are. But one date that we do know for sure is June 28th at the Goldendale Grange Hall. There'll be a presentation on the Goldendale Energy Storage Project at 6:30 p.m. The doors open at 6, and the presentation starts at 6:30. So that's on June 28th. This in a couple weeks, well, almost 10.
Yeah.
I guess it's about a week away. So that's what's going on with the Goldendale Energy Project, and if you're really interested in that program, that might be a great way to find out more about it and hear from that group. So we're in the environmental impact statement phase. It's out in draft form, and they're working on opening it up for comments, and then the next step would be to finalize that impact statement, and then they move forward on negotiating the permits and things like that to continue moving on with the project.
A very important stage in this process.
And this is the cleanup. Yeah, I mean, that's what this meeting's about, is for the cleanup of
On the old site.
yeah, right, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That's all I have.
Okay, thank you, thank you. From the city council, we'll start with Andy.
Yep, I just want to wish everyone in the LGBTQ plus community here in Goldendale happy Pride Month. We are having an event, I'm not sure if Nancy can zoom in, next month, July 23rd.
Hold
We're having
on,
our Pride event.
down,
Down?
perfect.
Okay. It's a family-friendly event. It's going to go from 6 to 11 p.m., 21 and over from 9 to 11. There's going to be food, drinks, giveaways, there's going to be a DJ, lots of things going on that day. And all are welcome. It's safe for everyone to show up and be there. And it's our second event. Last year we had about 350 people, and we're expecting about the same amount. We had people from Seattle, Yakima, Portland, Vancouver, all through the gorge area. So it's quite exciting to get that many people to get together and have fun. So that's all I have.
Where?
Oh, sorry, Dirty Cowgirl. Yep.
Thanks, Andy.
Yep.
Mylan Walden.
Well, thank you, Mayor. I think just maybe continue on the conversation, the comment that Larry made on the airport. I guess at the last council meeting, we talked about the airport, and like Larry said, we're going to continue working on it, and I think it's going to be very important that we can keep this up. You know, we're on a good roll here, so the idea is to try to keep things going, because we definitely need to make some improvements to the airport. So.
Right. Anything else?
No, I'm sorry, that's it, yeah.
L.A. Casey? Nothing? Dave Jones?
Okay, thanks, Mayor. Yeah, well, I thought we should probably address the letter that we received from, you have it right in front of you here.
Okay.
Yeah, well, we all received this letter from Mr. Harris about community days. Last year was too loud, too late, that's the gist of it. So, you know, we should probably make sure we're on the same page with everybody on,
We actually are. We
Okay.
met today in our department head meeting and talked to the chief about it. We think 11 o'clock is certainly a reasonable number.
yeah.
We did get our wires crossed a little bit last year, so that was an abnormal situation. We did intend to hold it back from the loud music at 11 o'clock. And I think basically we decided that anything that's outside would be over at 11 o'clock. If the bands move inside, they can continue on, but outside noise will finish at 11.
Yeah, well, that's fair.
What time does it start? I don't know, I just threw that out.
Usually depending on the band, it's down there, if it's at one of the bars or taverns or something like that. Bands, I haven't been downtown in many, many years, but 9 p.m. is when they normally start up.
Right.
But on special events, if they're outside, I don't know.
Yeah.
So that'd be up for the owners to put it at
Sure.
request in their
Yeah,
permit.
okay, thank you.
Well, also, while we're talking about community days, I pass those down. I have some program for community days this year. You know, just laying out what's going on. Talk about the time capsule. You know, I know you're probably sick of me talking about the time capsule. But the time capsule event, you know, we're really making good progress on that. It's not too late to get something put in the time capsule. We still have lots of room in there, so if anybody has any good ideas, I mean, it could be anything, to put in the time capsule.
No cats,
You know,
no dogs.
no cats or dogs. Let me know the drop off for entries to put something in the time capsule is the library, or you can get a hold of me and or Ellie or Andy, and we can make it happen, right?
Sure.
Good. All right. Yeah, that's all I had, thanks.
And there's also an ice cream social. I think
Yes,
you're
there,
hosting that, aren't you?
yes, I sure am.
Along those lines, I've really racked my brain.
Yeah.
To figure out what relative and pertinent. One thing that comes to mind would be a yearbook for the graduating class.
Yes.
Good
in
idea.
School,
Yeah.
so this year.
I'd like
I
to
don't
get
know
my
if
hands
they'll
on
have one available, because usually they come out, unless it's changed, I think it was like fall time they got the previous year.
I'm not sure.
I think
Or
we're
they-
getting them
they
before
they
the
have
end
it.
of the school year.
Oh, cool,
Yeah.
okay.
This is
So I know that's how, I
last
mean, it's been a
week
while,
they
but
have
that's
it.
how it was when I was in school, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're generally ready by the time graduation
Yeah.
comes, because everybody gets to say.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll see if we can get our hands on one. That would be a good thing to put in there. Thanks, Steve.
Yeah, good idea.
Also, maybe the program for the graduation ceremonies.
Yeah.
That would be good too.
Those young people work hard to do that and get there.
And
Maybe some of our meeting minutes.
they stand the best chance of being
At
here.
least put one of them in, you
That's
know.
okay.
And they stand the best,
What were they doing that for?
Yeah.
they stand the best chance of being here when they open it up again.
Yeah.
The only chance. Anything else?
No, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Good report. Steve Johnson.
Oh, I just wanted to follow up on what Larry has said about the Reds Conference and the TIF program. There's two programs that, boy, are going to afford us a lot of opportunities if we stay with them and work with them and learn how to work with them. Because they're fairly complicated and involved, but no. Milo and myself went up there.
Yeah, that's
And
very
I
good.
thought it was really informative,
Yes.
much more so than I
Very
expected.
lively meeting, yes.
It was.
And, but anyway, yeah, got some real opportunity there if we stay with it and take advantage of it as much as we can. Oh, that's it. That's it. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Steve. The mayor's remarks, only one small thing, but it's a really gratifying thing, is the committee on the time capsule, the performance you all have done has been absolutely excellent. All committees are helpful, but this one has gone down. It's a large committee, quite a cross-section of the community. Great job. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you, thank you.
We'll go now to public comment. Anyone here for public comment? Yes, sir.
I've lived in Goldendale since '98.
John,
We need your name.
you gotta be up there.
Oh, my bad, first meeting.
And then name and address.
John Enright, 212 East Main, Goldendale. I was wondering, last year on 4th of July, didn't we have a life flight come in? I believe it was last year, and there was a problem with the fireworks. And I remember fire trucks going around telling people, stop, stop, they're PAing it. And that didn't work too well, I don't think. You couldn't hear it. So I was wondering, because we're in a unique situation with KVH and the life flight. I think we're pretty special in that.
That's it.
Why we don't, if we don't have one already, some sort of a warning system? Like, remember the old war sirens? Remember that sounds archaic, but people could hear that. Or maybe you could shoot up like one special colored flare in locations around. I mean, if it saves one flight and a life,
That's it?
I don't think there's a maintenance issue with either one of those ideas, or just
No.
gotta make it high, loud, and bright. Pretty simple, just a matter of how you wanna do that. But I think that would be really something to look into. It's only required, 10 hours out of a year, basically, for the 4th of July.
Right.
But if there's something we can do, thank you. Have a good day.
Very good suggestion. I think police department and fire department maybe can talk about the ways we can do that with City Hall, what we might do to give a clear warning that life flight can bring in helicopters. We have to wait to stop for a minute. People will do it if they can hear it and know it, I'm sure.
No, I will stop.
Well, I'm sorry, but years ago, the fire department used to have a siren.
Yeah.
Are they still up, Noah?
The city of Goldendale does not, Rural 7 does.
Oh, okay, okay.
We used to have a news siren, I think it was right here at City Hall.
There's one, yeah, there's 3 of them, I think, was the thing.
Just hook one of them back up.
I don't think they're no longer with us.
No, I'm sure they're not.
Sir, did you have anything else?
I did, but I forgot it by the time I got to
I do that too.
I think I've done enough for that.
That's right.
Mr. Proctor?
Hi, I'm Gary Anderson, 875 Maple. And recently I got one of these letters of doom from the city. The mayor and I talked about it. And it was that I had parked a camp trailer in my side yard violating a city ordinance that I didn't know was there because so many of my neighbors violate that ordinance. I didn't realize it was. But the 2 points I have are, as the time date on the bottom of the photograph shows, it was taken on the 26th. I parked that trailer between 3 and 4 p.m. on the 24th. That was fast. Somebody must have some sway with the city to get Jeff to come out that quickly to take this picture. And yet, for me personally, in this instance, that trailer was destined to be there a very short time. And in about a week, it was permanently gone. Had nothing to do with the ordinance or anything else. It was just a temporary part of that camp trailer. But what bothered me was that I talked to 3 of my neighbors, and all 3 of them, without exception, pointed to the same house, went, "There's your problem over there." And I'm not going to say who that was. I don't want to get sued. But that an ordinance should be able to be weaponized or used as a punishment against somebody else. And since this had only been there 24 hours, this was a visual infraction as opposed to a safety code where somebody's health or life may have been in danger. To respond that quickly and yet to literally go past so many others to get to my house out by the hospital, I thought was a little remarkable. So anyway, the unequal enforcement and how quickly, can the city respond? And should the city be able to go, yeah, that's maybe not the view you'd like to have, but check with us in 3 months. If it's still there, we'll look into it. But otherwise, I thought that's a lot of effort. The staff that had to type this up, Jeff had to take the picture. Somebody's got to go to the post office, pay the money to send a registered letter to my house. Which ended up being for no reason. But how quickly, from the moment that I unhooked the trailer from my truck, am I in violation? Am I going to get the letter? And there's got to be a little common sense here about how fast does the city respond to that. Anyway, but also the unequal enforcement, when they have to go by so many other people doing the exact same thing. To get to me, I thought, what is... So, I'm adorable. Why would anybody want to complain about me? But anyway, the unequal enforcement, I thought, may open the city up to legal issues if somebody was litigious and wanted to go after that. But anyway, just wanted to address it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Do we have anybody online for public comment? There are no other public comments unless Roger has one or Nancy does.
Just a reminder that all of the things that they talked about tonight on your calendars, particularly the 28th. That's very important.
We'll go on now to adjourn the meeting. If we have a motion.
So moved.
Second?
Yes. Before we...
This presentation by this gentleman
Mr.
here
Anderson.
just emphasizes that much more the issue that's been brought up a number of times already about RVs
Sure. Yeah, we
in
did
the
discuss this.
city. And I agree with, that was overkill. It was out of line, and it just emphasizes, it illustrates why we've got to address this and level the playing field.
That's always important.
And I don't know if we can discuss this in Public Works, or what, or where, but we've got to have some discussion on it and get some direction going on it.
Sure.
maybe the best place to move that, refer that is to the ordinance committee.
I agree.
I think that's where it starts.
Okay. Okay.
And maybe better instructions on the whole issue will help that ordinance as well. It's hard to say what the solution might be.
Well, like I've already mentioned and suggested, where to start would be find the ordinance as it's written right now.
Yep.
That-
There also might be a way to clarify what's in the
That's
ordinance
it.
as
Right.
well.
Yeah, something we're,
And make sure that we communicate with our staff and our community so that
Yes.
they understand it. Because the main thing the thing we try to pursue is we try to pursue voluntary compliance. Because as was pointed out, we don't want to spend a whole lot of money on things, we'd rather try to get voluntary compliance. So a phone call, a letter, and if we can't get all that, then we get into situations like we can't find the owner, there's some squatter people, we need to go down this route of notice service by publication and spend all these attorney fees.
legal
That's what we,
costs.
that's what we want to try to avoid, but
Yeah.
every case is different and we try to, it's never going to be fair. But
It is
we
what
can
it
do-
is. It
we
is
can
what
do
it
our
is.
best.
It's a
We
rule.
can do our best to go for voluntary compliance. And then we can do our best to maybe communicate, clarify what the ordinance says. And if we need more clarification, then let's rewrite it
Yes.
and make it so it works better for us.
Right.
I think everybody agrees that we need to have some nuisance control.
Yes.
Absolutely, yes.
But we also need to have maybe clarity of the words on the page, so it's a little bit easier for everybody to understand.
What degree of nuisance?
With the degree, yeah, absolutely. No, it's not an easy fix, by no means, but it's a serious issue that has to be addressed. It needs to be rather sooner than later. And he did give a great example about they have to drive by a number of,
Already existing.
situations that should be written up, that have been there a whole lot longer than his had been. And so, no, it needs some discussion, it needs some clarification from front to back. But I know we've got code, I know we've got language that addresses RVs and citing them and using them within the city limits. I know it's there. It's old. It's been there a long time. And so a lot of these illegal RVs, I mean, that are flagrant, nothing like what was just mentioned tonight. Anyway, thank you
You bet, you bet.
for considering this.
Okay, we need, unless somebody wants more comments or questions, to have a motion of adjournment.
We already had a motion.
Yes, we have.
You had moved and seconded. Should have let you talk. Sorry. All in favor of adjournment?
Aye.
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 All right, we're done.